This is the RKTV Sport News. Catch all form.
Hello, viewers. We want to welcome you to RKTV, reaching live from Sierra Leone, the north part of Makeni, a city that we're proud of. We call the City of Light. So we want to welcome you to another edition of your favorite sports analysis, reaching you from this particular TV, and the serving as your presenter this time. I'm Yusuf Mosi Esuma, and in studios this moment I have with me two gentlemen. They are here to do some critical analysis, and we shall be looking at the performances of our darling Leone Star. And there are 3 matches they've played in the AFCON. And recently we welcomed them back home, having done with their 3 matches played. And in studios, I have with me John A.E. Masakoi, a sports analyst and also student from the Mass Communications Department at the University of Makeni. Is here with us this morning and this moment to speak and do critical analysis on the 3 games played by our darling Leone Star at the AFCON. And also I have with me Demba Mohamed Kamara. Is also a fanatic sports analyst and also member of the Blues. We call him Chelsea, but for here is a member of Leone Star. So we're going to discuss issues relating to Leone Star this moment. So I want to heartily welcome them in studio. I want to start by welcoming John A. Masakoi. John, you're heartily welcome to RKTV. We want to welcome you this moment.
Thank you, Mr. Suma, for calling us on this particular program. Once more, I am John A. Masakoi, a senior student of Mass Communications here at University of Makeni.
All right, thank you so much, John. We're happy to receive you in studio this moment. And also I want to reach Demba Mohamed Kamara, sports analyst. Demba, I want to welcome you to RKTV.
All right, thank you, Mr. Suma, for this heartily welcome. I'm so excited to be in this TV. Thank you for having me in your studio. Once more, I am Demba Mohamed Kamara from the University of Makeni, Unimac.
All right, viewers, these are my gentle analysts. They are here this moment to critical. Like I told you, we're gonna look at actually our darling Leone Stars performances during their 3 games played at the AFCON. We want to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. And also critically analyze on the technical side of the coach, the players, the technical team entirely. So I actually want to start by looking at the preparations, ahead of the match. How prepared we are, Leone Star, were they actually prepared to get the winning, or were they prepared to lose those matches? So I want to start with Demba. What is your take? Was there any great preparations, for our darling Leone Star before going for the AFCON?
Like, actually, if I can step into that, we are in the said if the darling Leone Stars, if they were properly prepared for this particular tournament in Cameroon, I will say they were greatly prepared. In instances we are in, you can see they have been supported mentally, physically, and financially. We are in the harbor support from the fans, the citizens, even to the president. And as a motivating factor, it has been quite long since our darling Leone Stars performed in the AFCON tournament. You can imagine from 1996 up to now, it serves 26 years. So I think there are a lot of preparation that have been put in place. For the mere fact that it has taken that long, we have never been to that particular tournament. I do believe there are so many preparations that have been put in place so that we can perform greatly in this particular tournament.
Okay, taking into consideration, the fact that we all saw what the government did by providing financial support, so, and even motivate the players by, buying, they bought tickets for supporters to go to Cameroon and then do some motivation, inspire our players and all of that. But do we think that is actually, was that enough, to make our players be motivated and perform extremely well?
All right, Mr. Suma, like I earlier said, if we can trace down to the qualification first, we see each player is being given a huge sum of loans, which for professional reasons we cannot state here. That alone can serve as a motivation. Wherein you can see all the qualifying matches that they play, you can see a huge sum of money we are giving to these players. That alone has served as a motivating factor, because if they qualify to the AFCON, I do believe there is much to be given to them, wherein that can serve as an addendum, as a motivating factor. So I can tell you that they were greatly prepared for this particular tournament in Cameroon.
Let me come to John. John also has been following greatly the matches that were played by darling Lyon Star, the AFCON. John, let me ask you a similar question like I asked Demba. Was there any good preparations for our darling Lyon Star before facing these 3 matches that they've played?
I would like to start from where my brother stopped. He was trying to tell us about the preparation, having been that our darling Lyon Stars have moved away from the African Cup of Nations, I think from 1996 to present day, and it is 26 year. Having been that it's a long period, we are sure that these guys will not want to just go to Cameroon and they kick them off like that. So like before going, I would like to classify them. They have been having training sessions, putting heads together, having different technical coaches at least to bring them up so that they will be more fit. And also there have been motivations coming from the first gentleman in the country, HE President Bio, motivations coming from the ministers, and even the general citizenship within Sierra Leone have been motivating this guy. I'm sure it's a sign to tell you that they were really motivated and they were really prepared. It's not only a motivation coming from individuals, the president, the entire cabinet, but a motivation coming also from the citizens and fellow players or colleague players also within themselves, and players that we are from international levels, at least to boost up the squad before preparing or before leaving the shores of Sierra Leone to go and partake in this particular competition.
I also want us to look critically at the technical team. Was there any technical support being given to the players, to our players, darling youngsters? And let me come to Demba. Technically, was there any technical or good technical support that was given to our darling youngsters?
All right, Mr. Suma. For me, I can say there is a good technical support given to our darling youngsters. If we can take into consideration the people that we are behind the technical side, for instance, we have big names, the likes of Galompan, the likes of Mohamed Kanon. They are all there to give a technical support. So if you can ask about this technical side, I do believe there are brains. Being part of that technical side, I do believe it is a boost, because he has the idea, he has so many professional skills and background for wherein he can back up the players. At least the technical side can do well for the darling youngsters so that they can proceed to another stage in the competition.
When we come to John, I would have loved to, pose the same question to you, looking at the technical side of the match or the team. Was there any good technical preparations, for us before going to the AFCON?
First of all, to start with, as we are saying, yes, our darling Lyon Stars, we are really prepared, and the introduction of I think Mohamed Kalon and that of Galompan and other big names, to say they are inspirations first of all to the players that we prepare to go and partake in this particular competition. Mohamed Kalon, as we know, has played for so many big teams all over the world, and in fact Sierra Leone is our hero when it comes to football. He has played for Inter Milan and that of Monaco. He has lived behind some landmark. So if at the end of the day, I think they call him to join the technical side, I'm sure not only being an inspiration, but he will be expected to make some concerns or even bring up things that are very, very important within the team. And going there, if I can draw reference maybe to our first match, I think Mohamed Kalon, from what people have been saying and from my research and observation, is one of the guys that is part of the technical team that made critical analysis of our first lineup in our first match. And at the end of the day, though it was not 100% successful because it was a draw match between Sierra Leone, our darling Leo Stars, and that of Algeria. But it was a success because looking at the side of Algeria as a big team and having, I think, a big name, they are also the defending champions. I'm sure it was like superb. It was 100% support coming from, I think, the citizens and the team themselves. They did well at least to have a draw between themselves and that of Algeria. So like the introduction of Mohamed Kalon in the technical side was really important, and he didn't just come into the technical team, but he gave us something that we can draw references from.
Alright, viewers, if you are just joining us, you're listening to Roland KTV online, and we are here this moment to discuss and do some critical analysis on the 3 games that was played in our darling Leon Stars at the AFCON. So we want to look at the very first match that was played against Algeria, the Desert Warriors, as been described. I want to join Demba. Let me come to you, Demba. What is your take on the first match played against the Desert Warriors? You know, the Lions of Africa and the Desert Warriors of Africa.
All right, thank you, Mr. Suma, for this particular question. Actually, when you come to look about these 2 sides, when you talk about the Desert of Algeria and the Lions of Sierra Leone, when you check the head-to-head, wherein you have to compare these 2 sides. First of all, Algerians, they are the current champions of defending champions of Nations Cup. And if you look to the head-to-head between these 2 sides, between Algeria and Sierra Leone, they have met at least 6 times in these competitions, 2 of which are the World Cup qualifying, if I can say, and the 4 is for the Nations Cup. And among these sides, Sierra Leone first met with Algeria in 1980. That was 1st of May in the World Cup qualifying. We are in the end up a 2-2 draw, FIFA World Cup. And the second one was against Algeria also, which was a home game. That is a win for Algeria, 3 in favor of Algeria. And on August 1992, there is another game, which is the African Cup of Nations. Sierra Leone lost also. We are in, they managed to defeat us, won also. So all this analysis, you can see this team have edge over Sierra Leone. Talking about the names we have in Algeria, the likes of Riyad Mahrez. He was a 1-time player of Leicester City, won the best player in Leicester City in that particular year when they won the Premier League, and he was then brought by Manchester City, and he has also won the Premier League with Manchester City sides. And during the AFCON itself, he is the best player for Manchester City. Talking about the likes of Ibrahim Slimani, he is a prolific attacker. He has strength, energy, ability, and know-how to punch goal. He is a tough attacker. So Sierra Leone facing those type of players in that particular tournament, I do believe it is a boost for Sierra Leone. Wherein you can see they maintain their level of capacity from the attacks we are receiving from Algeria, the Desert Warriors. If I can give a close statistics about how the game ended between those 2 sides, if you can see during that match, Algeria managed to concede have 10 corners against Sierra Leone. We are in for that whole 90 minutes. Sierra Leone managed to have 2 corners in that particular game of play. That can simply tells you that they were so hungry. Now they are playing for 2 main purposes. One, they are playing a team that has 26 years never go for the Nations Cup, and secondly, they are defending champions. So you can see that they have prepared so well for them to eradicate that bad record from receiving a defeat from Leon Stars. Now, talking about the possession in that particular pitch of play on that day, you can see they were so dominant because it is not their first time in the competition. They know how to play that competition, so you can see they know the length and breadth of AFCON when it comes to this tournament. You can see there is a defeat in the possession. Wherein at the end of the day, they have 66% of the possession in that particular match, and Sierra Leone managed to have 34%. Talking about offsides. Offsides is the level of competence you have in your team. Wherein if we set a particular track wherein for us to concede a goal, then we can never be going in too much offside. We see we have 3 offside where they managed to have 2 offside, and it's from that offside that we have our goal from Alhaji Kamal, who was the current striker on that day. He was on offside track Could it be an offside challenge? That should have been put Sierra Leone to the apex, defeating the Desert Warriors and the defending champions of that particular tournament. And now, the attack and the total attempts these two sides have on that particular pitch on that day. Algeria managed to have 19 total shots on target. They have 19 total shots. Out of that total shots, Sierra Leone have 9 shots. When the shots that go on target, we have 11. Out of that 11, Sierra Leone have 8. And from that on target, you can see the goalkeeper of Leon Stars, who was Mohamed Nabi Kamara, was so exceptional on that day, mentally prepared. He knew what he was here for, because that was his first appearance. Because you can see that from the records he set, the concluded Premier League home games, he was the champions also, because he was in the side of Eastern Lions. He was the goalkeeper for Eastern Lions, and they were the champions of Premier League in Sierra Leone. So you can see that he was prepared for that particular match, where he was managed to do 7 saves out of 8 on target. That gives him the man of the match on that particular day. Talking about discipline on the pitch, that is wherein professionalism comes in. You can see the side of Algeria, even though they were playing with hot temper, trying to defend their own integrity of being the defending champions. You see they have 1 yellow card at the end of the day, and for the side of Leon Stars also, they have a 1 yellow card. So if I can say match the level of competence between Leon Stars and the side of the Desert Warriors, which is Algeria, I can probably tell you that Leon Stars, we are on top of situation on that day.
Alright, our viewers, we want to go for a short break. When we come back, we continue with our discourse and analysis on Adali Leon Stars. Alright, thank you, Demba. You know, when Demba was doing some analysis, I was shocked that looking at the performances being done by Adali Leon Stars, you know, and the Lions of Africa and that of the Desert of Algeria. I actually feel like going back, Adali Leon Stars going back to the AFCON, because you would definitely know that you know that the performances so far being done by Adali Leon Stars was so great. But I want to join John to look at the confidentiality of our players, taking into consideration the first match of play. They were so focused, they were dedicated, you know, during that particular match, going down to the second, but coming down to the third match against Equatorial Guinea, we see some kind of relaxation amongst our players. Let me come to John. What is your take, you know, in relation to the confidentiality, you know, our players had before the first match, the second match, coming to the third match?
Mr. Suma, as Mohamed Demba has already said it all, he has taken into consideration the statistical consideration of this particular match. But in connection to the confidence, playing against, I think, the Desert Warriors, as their name implies, who are the defending champions, I think it's a huge task. But leaving the shores of Sierra Leone as Leon Stars, as our darling players, going to face Algeria in our first match, I think there was 100% confidence from the technical side and the players. Having players like Alaji Kamara and Diano, who has even punched, I think, the Super Eagles who are Nigeria. He came in, if I can remember, a match that we played. He got 2 goals and he equalized. It was a good result for Sierra Leone, our darling Leon Stars. Going to face Algeria, I think having big names like Mahrez, Brahimi, Bernard and all others doesn't mean nothing to them, because the level of confidence that they gave up, that they showed up in that particular match, was quite impressive. They didn't take into consideration having these big names. They went there as a team, they played as a team, and because of they played as a team, they were confident that these guys are just big names. Because apparently, when we talk about football, we don't take into consideration big names. The 90 minutes sometimes justifies the means, and that is exactly what the Leon Stars, our darling players, showed in that particular pitch that day, that all these big names are not to be considered. But we are going there to play for the 90 minutes, and at the end of the day, they made it up. taking into consideration the level of confidence they were having in the first match, I think led them peacefully after having a draw with the Desert Warriors, took them into a second match between Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast also being a big team here. I think we should consider that Sierra Leone and Darling Stars have left the African Cup of Nations for 26 years, from 1996 to 2022. They went in that particular match also. They were exceptional. They did their best, and at the end of the day, we also got a draw, giving us 2 points to match up with, I think, Equatorial Guinea. And having Equatorial Guinea, because of, I think, maybe the support coming from Sierra Leoneans, coming from the world, I think gave these players that, oh, we are man enough to do something better than this.
Mr. Skim, if I can see the people that play exposed ball mostly in Europe, if I can give an instance to Ivory Coast, they have played huge number of players that are playing exposed ball compared to that of Algeria.
But what I'm saying here, sorry to interrupt you, Demba. The point John was making, that our boys are Darling Stars. We are not even consider whether those names, big names, they were not even focusing on those names.
Yeah,
we are just like.
I'm getting a point, Mr. Sumo. It's because when we talk about the level of confidence they put on, that is why I'm coming up with this instance. We are in Ivory Coast have
Mr. Demba, let me just come in quickly. Let me analyze. As a senior sport journalist, I'm sure we should try to take into consideration that presently football is moving from the peak where it is. Yeah, let's forget about big names here. If you consider big names, the likes of Ivory Coast, we have Bailey, who we consider to be somebody tough when he stands at the defense line of Manchester United. I think the introduction of Musa Tombo into our second match gave something like to tell you we don't consider big names. Musa Tombo was there, he was exceptional. I think because of there was something that transpired between Bailey and Musa Tombo that gave Bailey a total misconcentration in the match, and in fact he avoided Musa Tombo, which gave us a perfect goal.
Another point I want to make is the fact that Kevin Wright was so exceptional. Taking into consideration Mahrez was like, wow, whose guy is this? and
in fact, Mr. Suma, you can see a sign of loss of concentration from Mahrez because seeing somebody maybe folding the hands like this, oh, I'm tired, which kind of defender is he? Considering I think Uma Obangu are the captain, and that of Koka, we are two perfect combination in that behind. So like Mahrez was unable to show some kind of professionalism he had been showing playing against
Mr. John, with all this analysis, that brought my mind again to the technical side, where we see Mohamed Bouyaqa Touré. Mohamed Bouyaqa Touré has played so many international football, who is currently playing for the Chinese side now. Now, we can see that on the first game between Algeria, he was the only player, the only skillful player that is able to manhandle the side of Algeria. He is the only player that's able to take the ball from our own box, enter with it to the box of Algeria. But again, we can see that he was totally absent-minded. Where you see Alhaji Kamal was there. He managed to dribble another ball where he was supposed to do a pass to Alhaji Kamara, but it was not unfortunate. The decision from Mohamed Bouyaqa Touré was absolutely poor on that very moment. He's supposed to give the ball to Alhaji Kamara, but what he does was
Mr. Kamara, you know what I want to say? There is also another very important point. Now having Mohamed Bouyaqa, Bouyaqa Touré, as the name implies, is a prolific striker. He has been scoring powerful goals in the various leagues he has been playing. Now the point of information here is that there is a tag from maybe ministers or from the president himself that the first man that is going to record the first goal in our first match or in our subsequent matches, I think he'll be awarded something. That what gave rise to Musa Tombo. He came in not playing for that gift, but he played with the whole heart that I want to do something. Personally, but if you take the side of Bouyaqa, I think he was having something that I want to be the first man to score for Sahel. That is why he was not giving the people that are informed to, I think, vaginate the goal for us. That particular
I think you're looking at it from the point of being selfish during that match. But I want to also look at the side of the coach. I mean, because having done with that particular match, there are lots of concerns that came up, from the public, the fans, that the coach should be blamed, in the area of not, putting, I mean, Musa Tumbo in the very first match that was played, I actually don't know, but personally, Musa Tumbo was highly motivated by his wife.
Mr. Suma, I just want to go into that particular aspect you are trying to see.
But are we really to blame the coach?
Yeah, if I can say, the coach must be blamed, the technical side must be blamed. Talking about the instance of his changes, lack of consistency in the game, wherein we can see, yeah, we all know Kaikama is our hero. He qualified us to the Nations Cup. But again, you can find out that the age has been telling on Kai Kamara. Okay, even if the age is telling on you, we have players like the Abubakar of Cameroon.
Yeah.
You can see, even though age has told on him, but he's so vigilant and strong.
So fit.
Yeah, so now you can see he has recorded at least 5 goals in the competition.
Yeah,
he's second behind the first person that have 6 goals in the tournament. Wow. So we can see that John Kista should have made some powerful changes expected from the fans on that particular day. You can see the game against Equatorial Guinea, and the 25th minute of play, Kai Kamara is down. We have been expecting him to do that technical change. And again, it is not because of Mohamed Bouakatoui has been wasting so many chances in the first game in Algeria. So on the second game, he decided to put Bouakatoui on the bench. But again, that is not the fact here. We are playing for Darling Roosters. You as a technical side, you as the coach, you are the father, you are the controller, you are the pilot of the flight on that day. You're supposed to do technical changes that will bring joy to the particular mission.
Mr. Kama, yes, what I observe is, or what I had, sometimes as journalists, especially sport journalists or journalists coming up, I think we should try to have what we call the facts before giving up our opinions. I think because from facts, then we are open-minded to give our opinions. It's like John Kista being the coach, as you have just said, the father of the team, the father of Leon Stars. He's having a problem with, I think, Musa Tumbo. But I think we are talking about Leon Stars here, and everything that has to do with Leon Stars, you should take every personal issue at your back.
So, gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our discourse this moment. We've done a great one by looking at critically the 3 games that we have played by Darling Leon Stars. They are back home. They are back home, and they were warmly welcome, with the exception of Musa Tumbo, who was, with huge population, at the Lunge International Airport, and he was like, wow, this is our king, Musa Tumbo, and we all saw some Lebanese people, they were also shouting Musa Tumbo. All of these things shows the kind of motivation Musa Tumbo and love the fans had for him. So what next is another question for our Darling Leon Star. 2023 is right at the corner, and we shall be going back for the AFCON. Mind you, this 2022 AFCON was supposed to have been played in 2021 June, but due to the COVID-19, so it was postponed to 2022. So what next, gentlemen, for our Darling Leon Star?
I think as they are back, they just need to take few things into consideration. Now I think they should have 1 or 2 weeks resting, I think, preparing, having their mindset, they concentrate, and the technical team plus the coach and the entire sports ministry, I think, should come down, call all the players, put them down that this is what you have done a good job, and now you are back. You just need to settle up, prepare. 2023 is not far from us. I think going this time around, they should go with something different, and the only advice I have now is, I'm sending it directly to the coach. I think Kista needs to put up himself 100% or better than what he did in this particular 2022 AFCON. I think if we see him putting his head together, putting his technical team together, I think I'm foreseeing our Darling Leon Stars to do more better than what they did in this particular African Cup of Nations this 2022.
So, Demba, John was saying the coach actually need to, gets himself 100% or more than that to the 2023. Let me come back to you. What next? Are you seeing anything like progress if John Kista will be with the team to the AFCON 2023?
Taking into consideration the fact that there are so many people that want this job, we are in to see the lapses of John Kista. Now, is John Kista willing to take this particular set to the 2023 AFCON? That is a big question people have been asking compared to the level of performances. Now, we have coaches behind bars like the likes of Mohamed Kalon.
Well, and this is all we have time for into this edition of our sport analysis. Like I told you earlier on, I was in studios with me, John A. Masakoi, student from the Mass Communications Department at the University of Makeni, UNIMAC in Sierra Leone, and also I was with Demba Mohamed Kamara from the same department, Masscom, at the University of Makeni. They were here this moment to discuss and do some critical analysis on the 3 games that were played by our darling Leon Star. Well, I've been your host. My name is Yusuf Mosiresuma. Do join us on our various social media platforms at Roland K News, Facebook, and also you can also go through YouTube, Roland K TV. You can also get us there, and you can also go through our website and www.rolandknews.com. Till another time, have been Yusuf Mosiresuma. Thanks for watching, and God bless you all.
This is the Roland KTV Sport News. Catch all form.